This is The View from Israel, Israel at War, and I'm Barry Shaw. Today, as things are concentrating on what's going on in Gaza, it seems that the northern border of Israel is heating up, particularly with a daily grind up of activities by Hezbollah over our northern border. And I wanted to address this, and I needed somebody who is more personally involved and has more knowledge than I do of what's going on in Lebanon. So I've invited today a guest of mine, Shady Khaloul, who lives in the north of Israel. Shady, welcome to The View from Israel.
Hello, Barry, and I am very happy to be with you again today.
Right. Now, first of all, tell our viewers something about yourself. You are originally from Lebanon. You're now an Israeli, and you represent, in fact, one of the leaders of the Christian Aramaic community. Give us some indication of your background.
Yeah, well, I live in the north of Israel, very close to the Lebanese border, in the Israeli side, in the Galilee, in the heart of the Galilee Mountains. Our village called where I live is Jish or Gush Khalav. I belong to the Maronite Christian Aramaic community. The Maronites, as a definition, they are a Syriac Aramaic Phoenician people. These people live here in this region since Jesus' time and before, as Aramaic population who speaks the language of Jesus and speak the language of the Aramaic people that also Jews share with us as well since that time, since we live together in this region. Our community today are considered a Christians, native Christians of the land. Majority of them, the center of them are in Lebanon, some in the Galilee and northern Israel, Haifa, Nazareth, and Jish, Gush Khalav, and Kfar Bar'am, where is like a pure Maronite community was there. And we live today in Jish. So the community, about 10,000 people in Israel, they are part of the Christian population of Israel, which counts of 2% of native Christians inside proper Israel. Most of them are in the Galilee, and they actually preserve, this community preserve Aramaic Jesus language, and we have projects, I'm leading project to revive the language and preserve it as a spoken one as much as possible, and not only as a sacred language of speaking it. And that's what we are doing in the Israeli Christian Aramaic NGO that I am leading it, and I founded back in 2006. I act as a president and a CEO of this organization. And we, beside that, we are calling our people to be part of Israeli society, to take part and of defending the country, and encourage our youth to serve in the IDF, which is the melting pot of the Israeli society, and from there to lead in different positions in civil society, to lead for coexistence and defense of Israel, because Israel is a very precious country for all of us, as it actually share with us the same values, the same Western free world values, and we want this country to stay strong and safe for all its citizens.
Yeah, I want to remind our viewers, Shady, that going back in a bit of time, even certainly in my lifetime, in Lebanon, when Lebanon was a normal democratic country, and you had a governance that was made up of Christians and Muslims over there, it was one of the most prosperous countries in the Middle East. They called it the Monte Carlo of the Middle East. And then everything went to ruin, virtually because of the involvement initially of the Syrians and also Yasser Arafat and the PLO. You accept that definition?
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's not only that, I would expand this definition to the entire Arab and Islamic world was involved in destroying the only Christian dominant country of Lebanon. It was founded in 1920 by the Maronite Christian Aramaic people to have a homeland, for themselves as a state, to live there as protected people by a state that is democratic state that share with the Western world same values like Israel, and they dreamed of having peace with the Jewish people and with Israel and living together in this region in peaceful and actually alliance, defending themselves from the same enemies, which is, sorry to say that, the fanatic Islam, political Islam that didn't want to have any entities in this region other than Muslim and Arabic countries. And they wanted to annihilate any other populations that have ambitions to independence in their own forefathers' land, like the Maronite Christian Aramaic people and like the Jews in Israel. And those Aramaic Maronites were in Lebanon, and they found out that the Jews and themselves are actually two minorities, that they share a lot of common values based on our Bible and the book of the prophets, that we share together through them many values, even in West democracies today. And they made alliance, and they start actually collaborating since the 30s of the last century. And they actually supported even the Maronites, the establishment of the State of Israel in 1947, UN Scope Committee, and even saved Jews from Holocaust, during the Holocaust, from Nazi Germany, that they smuggled them and to Lebanon, hosted them in Lebanon, and from our own town, as a Maronite Christian town under British mandate, our forefathers smuggled Jews and helped them escape to the Jewish agency in Haifa. This was part of our effort to save a people that were in a risk of annihilation, and we stood with them to save as much as possible from those innocent lives back then, as the Jews were persecuted worldwide. And later on, we can see that both people continued to collaborate together and help each other in the region. And when the Christians in 1975 war, when the Arab and Syrians and sent the Palestinian PLO led by Yasser Arafat, the Arkai terrorist back then, to Lebanon to fight Israel from Lebanon, and he started butchering Christians and slaughtering Christians in South Lebanon to get rid of them. In Fatah, in an area in South Lebanon, they called it Fatah land. These people actually found the Israelis with them, defending them from Arafat, from annihilation, and the Israeli IDF came in and saved these Christian people, and those Christian people formed militia called Free Lebanese Army, and later on was called Southern Lebanese Army, and they were allies of Israel and fought together the same enemy. And now the Christians should not forget who saved them from annihilation in the 70s and 80s from Palestinians and the Arab Islamic political system. And because those people didn't want them to have peace with Israel, and since then their country was destroyed, not because of Israel, because of those terrorists that want to use Lebanese soil to fight the Jews and annihilate the Jews. So this is a very complex situation. We found out that the Lebanese Christians and the Israeli Jews at the end go together on these shared values. But unfortunately, Iranian today, Syrians and other Islamic Jihad organizations and political Islamic system don't want these people to live in peace in their own countries, and they want their countries to be ruins. And what they try to do in they did in Israel, now they are trying to do it for the Jews in, sorry, what they did for the Maronites in Lebanon, they're trying to do for the Jews in Israel.
Okay, look, I'm going to give you a personal secret, but don't tell anybody. I've been in Lebanon 3 times. Unfortunately, it wasn't as a tourist. Lebanon is a beautiful country, but we were in there in order to try and rid Lebanon of both Arafat's Palestinian terrorists and also the Syrian interference of Assad, the father. We were forced out of Lebanon by the international community, and we warned the international community that if they didn't stand with us in trying to save Lebanon, Lebanon would descend in some sort of Islamic hellhole. And we saw that because one of the places I went to, and you can remark on it, was Baalbek, which was where basically Hezbollah took root. The other thing I want you to speak about is one of the things...
You surprised me for this information now.
No, okay, but the other thing, I think we need the world to know that there was a Christian leader who was standing with Israel and demanding Israel, and in fact the international community, to stand with us all, the Christians and the Israel and the Israeli army, because if they lose that fight, Lebanon would descend into a sort of an Islamic hellhole. Tell us about the Christian leader that was killed.
Yeah, I first of all, I agree with you about the international community that they made a huge mistake and they actually ruined Lebanon for not standing with Israel on their plans to get rid of those Islamic terrorists of what they call themselves today Fatah Palestinian parties, and today Hamas, and all of them were ISIS, the same ISIS behavior. And back then, we had a Christian, strong, charismatic leader. He's a Maronite Aramaic Christian. His name Bashir Jumayel. He formed the Phalange party. His father formed it, and he took and formed a Lebanese forces group. And those people actually start defending their lands and their people from annihilation. And they found Israel, where the Israelis were the only country actually that stood with them and supplied them with money and with guns and with ammunition in order to save their lives from this monster that they actually killed them like they killed the Jews today in south of Israel, in Gaza, around Gaza. This is actually what Bashir Jumayel did in order to save the Lebanese state and save themselves and have peace with Israel. But the Syrians, together with the Arab world, they didn't want this to happen and form a peace with Lebanon. So in 1982, when he was elected as a president of Lebanon, and it seems like they are succeeding in their plans together with Israel, the Syrians assassinated him and by bombing their headquarters, and he was killed as the president of Lebanon. So since then, the plan, the beautiful plan for Israel and Lebanon and a greater Middle East to follow this model of peace between the countries was actually destroyed. And now what we see in Lebanon is taken by Islamic jihadi group called ISIS Hezbollah, and they actually take their own Lebanese people as hostages in their implementation of the Islamic revolution values of Iran, that they are actually the strongest proxies of Iran, trying to implement their values in Lebanon and take this country into Islamic Shia state.
So as we stand right now, Shady, and I know you're involved with some research institute, what can you share with us of what's going on the ground right now on Lebanon's border with Israel that we in Israel and the world should know about?
Well, first, before I go to that point, I would tell my personal opinion. Lebanon it's a failure country today. It's not a country. It's not functioning as a country, and I think this country should be actually dissolved and divided into federal or ruled by a federal system. This system would be ruled according to populations and different populations that contain this country. You have the Maronite Christians and Druze in the mountains. They should have their own autonomous region, rule themselves together and serve and prosper in this region, because these people don't want conflict. These people want just to live peacefully. They would have access to the shores of Lebanon from the north and export with and trade with Europe, and as well can have a hub, a financial hub for them there, for that other people can invest on it, companies, high-tech companies and other factories that they can make their actually area prosper. And if and the Shia, they can all have their own federal autonomous region in the south and in the Bekaa Valley, which is, if they want to have their own values and Islamic revolution values, and their women be covered, and this is the way of life they want, let them have it. I don't need, as a Christian, to be part of this system. I don't see also the Sunnis want to be part of this system. And the international community, if they want peace between Israel and Lebanon and the Arab world and peace in this region, they should eliminate all those Islamic Shia jihadist groups and Sunni jihadist groups from north of Israel, from Lebanon, and from Syria, and let Iran deal with its own self in Iran and not in Middle East. Nobody needs Iran in our borders. Iran is 2,000 miles away from us. They have nothing to do here.
Well, I think the international community, and yes, even the moderate Sunni Arab states, should hang their head in shame that they allowed Lebanon to descend into the hellhole it is today due to Iran and the Islamic Hezbollah. They could have
were part of sorry, I must say that. I must say it. The Arab moderate world were part of destroying Lebanon. They didn't want to see a Christian Maronite state prospering beside Israel. They didn't want to have a state ruled by the Maronites, Christians, with different values than their values to exist. They said, it's enough for us, the Jewish state. We don't need another state. And they were part of destroying it. And now they got the Shia instead of them controlling the country. So I cannot say the Arab world is not guilty on what's happening here. And if they want to fix that, they should empower Maronites again in Lebanon, because they are the only ones who are loyal to this state, who are only ones who are loyal to their lands and not loyal to other foreigners.
Well, I want to tell you, my fear is this, and again, it comes down to the international community that have been a total failure when it comes to facing reality in the Middle East. As you said, Israel, we know, is facing at least 150,000 rockets supplied by Iran, most of them sophisticated, most of them with a more deadly warhead than that coming from Hamas in Gaza, with precision-guided missiles. And before we allow that to happen, Israel has no option but to target totally all the sites that we know they are being stored, which would mean a total destruction of Lebanon. We have no intention of destroying Lebanon, but we have no intention of letting 160,000 rockets, never mind their battle-trained soldiers, invade and ruin Israel. We have to take this step, and we feel desperate for the people of Lebanon. And when the people of Lebanon want to flee because they anticipate what is going to happen caused by Iran and Hezbollah, where can they escape to? Basically, they could try and come across their border with Israel to fly into Israel. But as Israel right now is in the stage of evacuating Israelis from their homes in the northern towns of Israel. So where else could they flee to that would be willing to give them shelter?
Look, I don't know where they will give shelter. I expect the Lebanese to rise up against Hezbollah, to rise up against this terrorist group. And they are 4 million Lebanese people. And if they are not satisfied with Hezbollah, so let them rise against Hezbollah and fight this group from interior and not letting them to destroy their country. It's their freedom and independence war. It's not ours and not our responsibility to take Lebanese here. It's impossible because we in the north, we are evacuated from these missiles being fired on our communities in the north, and no one can be here now in this region. So you cannot bring people to North Israel from anywhere and take any people here. Let them go to Syria or let them go to whatever, wherever they want. They have the sea, let them go to Europe if they want. If the international community don't want to enforce peace here and empower the good forces, then it's their problem. The Maronites are the good forces in Lebanon. It's like the Jews in Israel. The Jews has a freedom, that has a democracy, has values, the shared values with the international Western world. And the same thing, the Maronites. And the Maronites, when they ruled Lebanon, it was democracy. It was a prosperous country. And when it was taken by Islamic jihadists and Islamic political system in Taif agreement, then we saw a failure of a country and destruction of its system and led to poverty. So what the international community want? They want prosperous Lebanon. Let them empower the people who know how to rule Lebanon and the original native people of Lebanon that care for their country and respect their country and their soil and their people and care for everybody in this country. While the others are loyal to Iran or to other foreign forces, don't care about Lebanon. So you have responsibility as international community today to empower the Maronite Christian Aramaic people and build a different federal system for this country, federal state, so people can maybe have a hope, and through this hope can make peace with surrounding countries and not fight each other forever.
I can guarantee one thing for you, Shady. If we have to take that step, if we have to prevent the total decimation of Israel by actually bombing Lebanon, I can guarantee you one thing, that the international community you spoke of, and yes, the Western media, will portray Lebanon as Gaza. They will portray Israel as being infringing on international, doing war crimes. They will do the same to people of Lebanon as they've done to us with regard to Gaza. Lebanon for them will be that hospital in Gaza, which they said Israel had bombed a hospital, killed 800 people. When Israel didn't bomb the hospital, Hamas and Islamic Jihad did. And by the way, the numbers of dead were inflated. And by the way, the hospital wasn't hit anyway by an errant Islamic Jihad Hamas rocket. So the lies of the Western media will apply against Israel when we are forced to defend our country, because if we hold back, we will not have a country.
My friend, I would say, first of all, our existence, Israel existence. If these people, we don't destroy them, if we don't destroy those terrorists people, That's what I mean. They will destroy you. It's a war of existence. I really care less about international community, what they would say in this situation, because they are not living here. We live here, and we need to defend our lives. We need to defend our existence. We need to defend our sisters, our daughters, our children. That's what we are doing now. We are defending ourselves from this monster ISIS behavior of Nazi behavior, worse than Nazi as well. So I care less about what the international community would say. And what we received terror. Every place we evacuated and withdrew from it, in Gaza, in Lebanon, South Lebanon, we received terror and terror and terror again. So what did the international community and United Nations forces, UNIFIL forces, did for us in this region? How did they protect us from this evil and terrorists? Nothing.
Shady, when we win this war, as we must, how can we help you with what you're doing over there in the north of Israel, working on behalf of the Maronite Christians? Do you have an email, a website, something like this that we could share with others?
Yes, if you want to read more about this and our activity and support our program of Christian Jewish leadership program in Israel, it's one of the kind of programs in the country that combine 25 Christian native people in the Galilee and 25 Jews in the Galilee. They live together in the Sea of the Galilee in a compound. They study together for 7 months, train together in leadership, how to become better leaders in their communities and societies, and how to lead Israel for a better coexistence and defend it together as one people. If you want to support us on that program too, you are welcome to go to www.aramaic-center.com, and you have also a link there. If you want to donate, you can donate for this program and other program of reviving and preserving Aramaic Syriac language. We have a summer camp for the youth. We have youth activities in order to make these youth better leaders in our society. We have a lot of educational programs that they can support, and through these programs we can build a better future for Israel actually, and better people and citizenship, Israeli citizenship in the future that can benefit all citizens.
Thank you, Shady. We'll put this on screen as well. I want to thank you for your contribution. Stay safe, my friend.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you. I hope and pray for the peace of Israel and the peace of the region. But again, peace can come after defeating this enemy that is ISIS we are fighting today, led by Iran and Hezbollah and by Hamas and Islamic Jihad.
Thank you. Again,
thank you.
Please share this video with people you know. This is Barry Shaw, The View from Israel.
Thank you, Barry. God bless.
God bless you. Thank you, Shady.
Thank you.
אנו מכריזים לזאת